Hi, I'm Katan. A lot of you asked a lot of questions this morning about the Blue Morpho butterfly, and so I thought I could show you how they grow, what their life cycle is, and share a little bit of information about why we don't touch butterflies with our hands and how the Blue Morpho butterfly gets its color. So most butterflies that we see around Rosenberg around this time of year are like little cabbage butterflies or sometimes some painted ladies. But the Blue Morpho butterfly we don't see unless we go to the Academy of Science and go into their rainforest dome. Because they usually live in the tropical rainforest. So what I want to show you, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a little slide that I made that shows all those questions you guys were asking about the Blue Morpho butterfly. So I'm going to put it in large screen so you can see it, and teacher mode got really small. So the Blue Morpho butterfly life cycle, that's what this says, and it says Katan. So this is the life cycle. So first they start off as a little egg, very, very small on a leaf, kind of like the very hungry caterpillar story we were talking about. And then out of the egg, they become a butterfly and they eat all the time. And they shed, their skin sheds, and they become stronger caterpillars. And then they go into a chrysalis. It says cocoon here, but remember, butterflies go into a chrysalis and moths go into a cocoon. And then they grow in there, kind of like when you grew in your mommy's tummy, and they get wings and antennas and eyes, and even their tongue to eat from the flowers. And then they become the butterfly. They come out and they become the butterfly. And a question that was asked today on our field trip to all the different habitats was, how do they fly? And so first, when the butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, it's very weak. It's just has its new body and it's all very new and it hasn't really moved around yet. So the butterfly hangs on the chrysalis branch for a little bit and lets the blood flow into its wings, and then it flaps and they get really strong and the muscles get stronger, and then they practice flying around until they're comfortable. And then they start flying everywhere. So I wanted to show you pictures of each stage in a bigger picture so you can see it. So these are the eggs and they look very interesting. They have like these little circle dots around them, but if you look inside, you can kind of see there's something inside that egg, and they lay on the leaf and they wait there until they're ready to come out as a caterpillar. And this is what the Blue Morpho butterfly caterpillar looks. It looks like it has a lot of whiskers. Reminds me of my cat, Xavier. It has some very interesting colors on it too. And so when it's a caterpillar, it just eats all the time. Becomes a big, big caterpillar. And then it goes into a chrysalis, just like this. And this picture, one is the chrysalis, the green chrysalis, and right next to it is a butterfly just coming out of the chrysalis. Like I was telling you guys, when it first comes out, it's really scared because it doesn't know what's going on or what its new body is like. And I wanted to show you how, when I show you on the next slide what the butterfly looks like when its wings are all spread out, it looks very different than this one. So look and see if you notice the difference. This is what the Blue Morpho looks like once it's out of its chrysalis and it's ready to use its wings. And so you see that it has a body in the middle with antenna. Can't see the tongue here, but butterflies have tongues and they're called pollinators because remember what we talked about on our field trip this morning? They go around to all the different flowers and they go to the female, the girl butterflies, and they suck up the nutrients and they bring it to a male, a boy flower, and then it creates more flowers. And so that's kind of the way that you get all the different flowers and how they grow really strong. So this is what the Blue Morpho butterfly looks like when it closes its wings, right? And the reason why it looks like this, it kind of looks like it has a lot of eyes on its wings. It's because it protects the butterfly when it's out and about from predators, from other animals or bigger insects that want to eat it. And so when it closes its wings like this, it's protecting itself because it's called camouflage, and it kind of blends into the trees and the surroundings. And also it's a little bit scary, right? So it might scare off some predators. So I wanted to show you this video of a Blue Morpho butterfly coming out of its chrysalis because you guys were really curious about that. Okay, so let's watch. This butterfly's life cycle spans roughly 115 days from egg to butterfly. It has 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Larva is kind of like that small thing that it is right before it's a caterpillar. As an adult, it only has 2 to 3 weeks to find a mate, so to find another butterfly so they can make more eggs to make more butterflies. It is coming out of the chrysalis, practicing its wings and getting stronger. It's not flying very gracefully yet because it's still learning, right? This is light diffraction from millions of tiny scales give it brilliant blue wings. There's another video after this that explains how its wings are so blue. Their wingspan can measure up to 6 inches. 6 inches. So remember, as pollinators, they give a lot of life to the area that they live in the rainforest. All right, this next video I want to show you it answers the question, what gives the Morpho butterfly its magnificent blue? It's very rare that we see butterflies like this in San Francisco. They are in the tropical rainforest. And butterflies that have this blue color, they're from a species called Nessa. And a lot of Nessa butterflies have that blue color.
What does it mean to be blue? The wings of a Morpho butterfly are some of the most beautiful structures in nature, and yet they contain no blue pigment. Artists use paint, dyes, and ink to make their creations. Nature draws on a palette of biological pigments, also known as biochromes. But there's another way of producing color. It's called structural color, and it harnesses the physics of light at the nanoscale. Nipam Patel's lab at UC Berkeley is studying how Morpho butterflies form the special structures that cover their wings, scales, while still inside the pupae. Morphos live mostly in the tropics, and when they're resting, they fold their wings up, showing their dark earth-toned undersides. The brown, yellow, and black colors are generated by pigments. But the other side is all about structural color. It gives their wings a vibrant, iridescent blue hue. Each scale is like a pixel, a tiny tile in a larger mosaic in layers of overlapping rows. Researchers want to see how structural color takes shape on the wings, but normally this happens inside the pupae, which is opaque. So they figured out how to remove the Morpho wings from the pupae and grow them in a petri dish. Just like a developing photograph, patterns and colors slowly appear on the ghostly white wings as each scale's surface transforms over time. Ridges on the scale's surface are a key component that affect how the wing spreads or refracts light, similar to a prism. When light hits these ridges, a phenomena called constructive interference comes into play. The spacing within the ridges, which look like little Christmas trees, perfectly reinforces specific wavelengths while canceling out others. This is why your eyes perceive that shimmering blue. Scientists aren't sure why, but vertebrates and plants rarely produce blue as a pigment. For some reason, it's a pigment you don't see much of in nature. So think of structural color as an evolutionary workaround, a way of producing brilliant blues at a nano level, not just on butterfly wings, but on feathers, beetles, even our own bodies.
So I hope that answers why the Blue Morpho butterfly is blue. It's actually little scales that produce when it's in its chrysalis. And the last thing I wanted to remind you guys of is why we don't touch butterfly wings with our fingers. So our hands have oils on them that you can't really see, but when you touch things, it leaves a little bit of that oil behind. And so if you touch a butterfly like this, or you try to pet its wings, your oil falls on their wings and it gets really heavy and makes it hard for their light wings to fly. So if you ever want to talk to a butterfly, or see a butterfly, or touch a butterfly, the respectful and kind way to do that is to put your hand out like this and let it come land on your finger. And some of our Gonkatons that were Gimmels last year remember doing this with teacher Sienna, right? All right, Gonkatons, I hope you enjoyed that. See you later.